The name is Bond, KinoBond. Live from Koh Samui, I'm your host, Weber, Jean Weber, and my Bond girl is...
Hello, LARISSA BIANCA, and I'm here at No Time to Podcast.
So a little debriefing today because for once we're going to do the show in English, which is rather unusual for my channel, but...
Because I don't speak French yet, so...
Yes, and also we're on our Majesty's Secret Service, so they all speak English. But first, thank you for bringing...
Thank you for bringing me here.
Yes,
I'm
and
very happy to be here.
For bringing a much-needed feminine touch to the show and to that Bond saga that almost starts with you. I did a couple of shows before, but what I'm very interested in is that you chose the film tonight.
Yes.
And my first question, because there's going to be a little bit of back and forth between you and me, you're about a couple of years younger than me, so...
I'm 21, for you guys to know, so when the film came out, I was 18.
Yes, so that's very interesting, because not only a feminine perspective, but also a younger generation perspective for this hero, this character that was born in 1962 on the big screen, you know? Yes. Are you familiar with the previous... What's your experience with Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
So the thing is, I've never watched a movie from Bond before, No Time to Die. So this was the first movie who catched me.
But you told me you watched one with your father when you were a kid.
But
you don't remember?
I didn't like it that much, and so you see, I didn't continue to watch the others.
Obviously, yeah. But so
it didn't catch me at that time.
But this one you kind of liked, the one we're going to talk about, yeah?
And I will talk about why.
Good. Are you familiar with the previous James Bond incarnations? You know, like the guy who created the character,
Not
Sean
really,
Connery or
no.
Roger Moore?
It says something to me, but I'm not into the movies. I'm
Pierce.
honest here.
Okay.
I'm not into it so much.
And what about the character James Bond? I mean, when you were a kid growing up, your father is from a generation where maybe he was a fan of the character?
Not that much, but
okay.
He talked about it a few times. We knew, all my siblings, we knew what it is. So we knew it. We knew James Bond, the legend, why he's a legend. So yes, that's a thing. You
knew all the folklore around it, you know, like the martini shaken,
yeah.
shaker, not stirred.
Yeah.
You knew Q, the man with the gadget and all that bullshit.
I knew with the sentence you just said, the famous Bond sentence.
Yes.
I knew it from, not from the Bond movie, to be honest. I knew it from a German comedy film.
There you go.
So, but it's famous, and I knew it's from Bond.
Yes. You see, when you were younger, you know, usually you get the reference by osmosis, by people who make parody or spoof of the thing, you know. So, like, I discovered a lot of things through The Simpsons, you know, because they were making fun of the things, you know.
Everything's connected.
I love it, you know. So now we can, I want to talk a little bit about Daniel Craig. Were you familiar with his work before the movie? Or?
I mean, you see it everywhere. You know, the posters, his face is very legendary. So yes, but I don't know the history of him like much.
Because you know, in the beginning when he was cast as Bond, a lot of people were furious about it. Because
I know, because he does not look like the other characters.
Not the typical.
He looks very different, but I think it's a good change.
Yeah, they called him Blonde Bond and everything, you know. But then he earned it because after the first film, he proved himself right away. And everybody loved him right away. And I think this movie, you know, I at first when I saw the movie, I didn't like it that much. But when I saw it again a couple of days ago for the show, my appreciation for it grew, I should say. And tell me why you chose it now. That's interesting for me.
So the thing is, it was the first movie where I really felt the soundtrack of it was a connection to the new generation, to be honest, because I'm a big fan of Billie Eilish.
Cool.
And she's the person who made the soundtrack of the movie.
Yes.
And it was the first connection to the movie. That's why I went to the cinemas at 18, because of Billie.
Yes.
And then...
Oh, because you heard the song and you wanted to see the...
No, I saw the trailers all over social media, and then I choose to go into the movie.
So Billie was the link for you to...
It was the start, the link.
That's
but
cool.
The film proved that it's worthy being watched, you know, also from my generation, because obviously I'm a little bit younger, and not familiar with the previous
Yes.
Bond movies.
Yes.
But I started to like Daniel Craig a lot because of the movie. So I got into the Bond world because.
Did you watch any of the other films prior to Bond or after Bond? You like the girl with the dragon tattoo or no?
No, sadly not.
Because he's one of the really best actors that ever played the character, you know, because guys like Sean Connery or Roger Moore, they were movie stars, but they were maybe not as subtle actors. Because when you see Daniel Craig, sorry, we're going to spoil the movie a little bit today. So if you haven't seen it now, maybe stop the podcast and go watch the movie and then come back to us after.
To come back.
Exactly. But yeah, Daniel Craig is more human. When he plays, yes, and he plays things that. Okay, so I have a question for you because previously the James Bond movies, you know, it was just a character who was like sleeping with beautiful ladies, drinking martini, and killing bad guys.
I know.
So now he's monogamous. He has a family. He doesn't sleep with any woman in the movie. He's like they say he's like the more woke Bond. What do you think of that?
So as a woman, I like this man portrayed in the movie much more.
Yes.
So I could more empathize.
Because he's not the caricature that he used to be.
Yeah, he's like. He has a family. Sorry for the spoiler.
We warned you.
He's a father. And he's very human. He's not like untouchable.
Yes.
I like that. I think personally, in my opinion, I think my generation likes that.
Yes, I actually, my generation, or actually me, I responded to that as well because I thought the character needs to move with the times, you know, and not get stuck into.
There's a lot of improvement in this movie right
Yeah.
here.
Maybe if I had one little problem with it was maybe the chemistry between the actress Léa Seydoux, who plays Madeleine, the love of his life, and him. You know, there's a.
You didn't like it?
I thought I didn't feel the love so much, the love connection that much, you know, because it
But
started
from
in the
his
previous.
side?
Yes.
Not from her side, or.
Her, she was always like playing a one-note character, a little bit like always in distress, you know, and I didn't really feel. There's a 17 years age difference between the two of them.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and she's interesting. A lot of people didn't like the fact that Bond had a daughter. Didn't like the fact that he was kind of like monogamous, and also the fact that, huge spoiler, he dies in the end, which is, you know, that never happened before.
But you know? I like it. It has a start. This Daniel Craig Bond has a start. It has a movie, and then it has an end. You know?
Middle
like
and finish. Yeah.
It's like you live with him, and when he dies, it's like an ending. I like that. I don't know. It's like a trilogy.
That's true. No, it feels like a full movie. It's the longest Bond, I think. It was like over 2 hours and a half.
Yes, or it's a long movie, yes.
And I think I know why, because those movies become more and more bloated, you know, because Ernst Stavro bloated, because that was a little joke, sorry, a little private joke from the, you know, the bad guy of James Bond is named Blofeld. But anyway, when you have actors like Naomi Harris, Ben Whishaw, Ralph Fiennes, who are playing M, Q, you know, all those actors were playing the regulars, you need to give them something to play, you know, so that's why the movie,
You're right.
yes, back in the day when you had Miss Moneypenny, she was just in one scene, and Bond was entering the office, throwing his hat like this and flirting with her, and then she exited the movie, you know, and his life.
And this is the thing I don't like about the previous Bond, because I obviously know that
Yes.
in the new Bond it's less sexualizing women.
Absolutely.
Not for the male gaze. I like that. Also the dressing.
Yes.
They are not doing unnecessary sexualization of women.
I completely agree, especially with the I don't know if she's African American. I think she's British, actually. Of course, yeah. The lady who plays the female 007, Nomi, you know, Lashana.
Yes.
Yeah, she was great because she was not sexualized at all,
Yes.
and she was Bond's equal in every way. And I thought she pulled it off.
Yeah, I like that they are portrayed as important as equal.
Yes.
Like, she's the Bond too.
Yes.
It's like real life, you know. It's a team play.
Yes.
A woman and man.
Yes.
Not a relationship or friendship. It's a, you know, everyone
Yes.
has its strengths, and I like that.
Yes, and of course the franchise had to reflect real life, you know, because they've always been trying to be more fantasy and everything, but now they have to be in an age of Jason Bourne and John Wick, you know. You cannot be that fantastical, crazy, whimsical secret agent that doesn't exist anymore. That's more like Austin Powers, you know, all those spoof and everything. But let's talk about the movie a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to know, did you like the villain, Rami Malek?
I read a lot about a lot of opinions in the internet. They're
Yes.
very like different. For me, it was I liked it.
Yes.
I liked the story. Yeah.
I thought he needed more, actually. I wish I knew more about him,
Yeah.
you know, because what's his profession? He's like a poison merchant?
I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, you know. And what's weird is that when he meets Madeline, you know, in the cold open in the end, when Madeline is a little kid,
Yes.
I wonder how old he is because
Oh yeah, this is something I wanted to, because
Yeah.
he appears the same
age,
the
you know.
same, yeah.
Yes, and also I don't know whether he has a father-daughter relationship with Madeline or more like a love triangle with
Yes.
James Bond. You know, that's kind of vague,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that's been they did many rewrites, you know, because you know the movie was started in 2016.
It was.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
came out
5
in
years. Oh, wow.
2021 because of COVID pandemic, you know. So
I also think that the producers had a very rage-like opinion on how the film will go. So I can imagine that maybe some people didn't want him to die. That's a huge thing.
oh yes,
So,
yes.
because it's very different, very, very.
I think it was maybe Craig who wanted it.
Oh,
to-
really? Because
to-
he wants to end.
He wanted to end, you know, because he had enough. You know, a lot of the previous James Bond, they made the mistake of making too many Bonds. Like Roger Moore, he was in his 70s when he made his last
Oh,
Bond, so
wow.
he looks like a very old James
Yeah.
Bond, you know. Craig is in his 50s, still in good shape, you know. And after the previous movie, he says, doing a Bond movie, I don't want to do another movie, I'd rather slit my wrist, he said.
Oh, he said that?
Yes, he said that because
Oh,
it's so
wow.
difficult. He broke his leg, you know, it's very difficult
Oh.
physically. And after 50, you know, it heals slower and everything. But
Right.
his commitment to the franchise is admirable. And the Broccoli, who treated the first Bond actors like shit, they didn't pay them, they underpay them.
Oh.
Yes. So now they made Craig a partner. They really pay him and they want to treat
I
him
like
right
that.
and make sure
that's
that
a
he's
change
happy.
Also in society,
Yeah.
as it's portrayed. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, and they really want to ensure. And now, what's interesting is that he gave everything for this movie. Like, you know, you can tell he really respected the character of James
He
Bond.
did, yeah. I
Yes.
had that feeling too, as I
Yes.
first watched it. Fantasy thing, going to something more human, vulnerability.
Yes.
It matches very good with his decision to not do it anymore. I think they did a great job out of this.
Yes.
They did.
Yes, but to go back to his death, you know, when we finished the movie, the finality of it was very weird because as a James Bond fan, I've been watching James Bond forever, you know, and I could not. A lot of people didn't accept that he was going to die like this. But
Yeah,
my real problem with it was James Bond. All his life, he was impeccably dressed, you know, like he goes to the finest British tailor and everything, and at the end, when he dies, he's dressed like a Russian sailor. It's very weird with it. So he's not dressed well enough when he dies, I think. No time to dress, maybe.
No. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like it. No time to dress.
Let's speak about Paloma. Did you like the character of Paloma, Ana de Armas?
I liked her, yes.
Yeah, she brings a lot of levity, a lot
Yes.
of comic relief to the show.
Yes. She's great. She made me laugh a lot.
Yes, a lot of people said that the movie should be more like that, you know, that part of the film, because that was more like the old James Bond, which is more fun,
Yeah.
more light, you
I
know.
agree with that because I thought it when I watched the movie. I was like, why only she? Why she brings a good energy, very
Yes.
good energy.
Yes. And because Craig is the first James Bond who cries, you know, he's super sad all the time, all the time he's very depressed, you know, and there all of a sudden with Paloma he comes alive, you know.
Yes.
And Daniel Craig, he asked the production to hire this actress, Ana de Armas.
Oh no.
Yeah,
really?
because he worked with her right before on Knives Out for Netflix. You
And
see
they
that
had a
film?
good
They had a
chemistry.
good time
Nice.
together for a few months. So he brought her on board, and she's great because they have like feels like a Fred Astaire, you know, movie. All of a sudden, like they're like dancing, you know, and
Yeah,
killing
I'm
people.
enjoying empowered women in movies.
Yes.
And especially in that one, it was a refreshing Bond film.
Of course. People were even talking about a spin-off with her, with her own film.
No,
Would
I
you watch a
didn't.
movie with Paloma by herself? On an adventure?
No. Maybe in the future, because she's great,
Yes.
but not yet, no.
Okay. Speaking of the future, how do you see the future of the Bond franchise? You think he should, because in this age of TikTok, you know, should he keep on adapting to the youth, or like go back to the roots and
I
become?
think he cannot go back now.
No.
It's over. The
How
show
about
is over.
how about a period piece? How about if the movie is set in the 60s or 70s, like a?
But they need to lower the expectations of the original Bond returning, because
Yes.
I think nowadays it's hard to like sexualize a woman, and my generation, I know my generation, I'm Gen Z, and they will destroy the movie in the internet and social media, like how do you say it? I don't know. They would cancel it.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot the word. They would cancel the movie. Yeah. I think it's a risk to be cancelled
Yes,
nowadays for a movie like this.
For sure, but it's difficult for James Bond to exist nowadays
Yeah.
in a world of John Wick, you
Yeah.
know, in a world of Fast and Furious, of Jason Bourne, like I was saying. You know, he's a really from the past, so he
But
totally.
I think Bond will be a legend for, like, it has nothing to do with Fast and Furious, no, and with the other things. So
Yes.
it's his own thing.
Mm.
Still, I think Bond, the name 007,
Yes.
is legendary.
That's
So
true, yeah. But
we will see what the future brings.
it's
I
true, but
guess.
you know the broccoli. It's not the vegetable. It's the name of the producers of the Bond franchise. Their name broccoli.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's the name of the family. They, I hope they don't do like Star Wars, which is make TV shows of James Bond, like like Young Q,
I can
Miss
imagine
Moneypenny
that
in
this can
school.
happen, because nowadays they make money out of everything.
Yes,
But I hope it will not happen, because it may ruin a little bit the, you know.
and the people mentioned the female Bond. Would you be okay with that? Really? Like, and would you like her to be called Jane Bond, or would like to be a different
No,
character?
Maybe his daughter one day or something. That would be great.
Matilda.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. because
Mathilde,
it's-
actually,
because it's
she's
still
French.
The blood, it's still him.
Yes.
I would love that.
That would be cool, but I think this incarnation of Bond, as we saw it for No Time to Die, it's over. It's never coming
No,
back.
I think
None of
not.
the characters, you know.
I hope they make something that will catch the new generation. I hope they will stick to looking what is new and what is the change, because society is changing every day.
Yes,
So they need to suit to this.
of course. And James Bond has always tried to be a reflection of our society as well, you know,
Yes,
and
it's true.
follow
Yeah.
the trends, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the future has in store for James Bond and for us
Yes.
on this show.
Yes.
It was a wonderful pleasure talking to you, Larissa.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a great time. Here.
Of course. As usual, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review everywhere you listen to the show, especially on the YouTube channel, Abracadapod on YouTube. And now it's time to say your catchphrase.
So, my catchphrase, and I hope you like it, we have all the time in the world. And I like it because it's true. We have all the time in the world. Maybe it's on a more profound level. Maybe we should sit down sometimes and do things more slowly. No time to die. All the time in the world. I think it's a great message.
Wonderful.
It's from the movie.
Next
So
time I drink a martini, I will slow down and enjoy it even
just,
more.
for the nervous system, just slow down.
That's wonderful. On this delightful note, we have all the time in the world, time enough for life to unfold all the pretty things life has in store. The name is Bond,
Like
KinoBond.